Skincare.
Alright, so skincare. I actually don't have chafing issues. I really, for the most part, never have. I had my lady bits chafe at no business. It was really humid out, but I didn't use skin lube down there, I don't think, and it didn't get horrifically bad. So I don't usually do this. When I first started running hundreds, what I would do is I would keep a little bit of skin lube. There's so many different kinds. It's that's personal preference, honestly. But like I would keep like a little tiny thing of like the nut butter on me. This is squirrel's nut butter, or this is trail toes. I would keep them in my vest. Now I think keeping them in the vest because I'm not prone to chafing is like overkill. If you are prone to chafing, then it wouldn't be overkill. So you might want to just have that in your vest, like in an emergency pocket at all times. For me, I don't worry about it typically, but since it is a loop course, what the hell, why not? I could throw something in my duffel bag. But yeah, a couple of things like there's Gold Bond, Friction Defense, Body Glide. I know Lee uses this some. I think she keeps this in her drop bags. Skin Sake. These are all things that you could toss in a drop bag. I'll just go ahead and grab like one of these and stick them in my duffel bag just in case. But also I'm going to have the Musher Secret in there, as we talked about in the foot care video. And the Musher Secret, I think, works well for the chafing too, so that should not be an issue. So I'm just going to put this in that main compartment area.
All right, so we already talked about chafing. I showed you some of those products there. And another thing to consider, you can take that, and like Lee does this, she'll take a contact lens case and put some Body Glide in the contact lens case. So you could take those products and put them in an even smaller case, have those in each of your drop bags, or have a tiny case like that contact lens case in your vest, just in case. Like I said, I don't really have chafing issues, so I don't worry too much about that for my personal planning. Next one, sun protection. Keep that in mind. Sometimes you need to think about that when you wouldn't even think you'd need to think about that. Like, for example, when it's cold outside, when there's snow on the ground. But bear in mind, if you're out in the open, exposed to the sunlight, you could get sunburn even when it's cold outside. Especially when you're out there for hours, sunburn could be excruciatingly painful. So protect yourself from the sun and from the sun cancer. You do not want that. Also with that, you can consider putting that into a smaller container and having it in each of your drop bags. Frostbite protection. Last year for Outlaw, I hadn't even thought about this. Now, if you recall, Outlaw 2021 was when we had that big freeze in Oklahoma, single-digit temperatures for most of our race, and I was out there for over 40 hours, and I realized while I was out there running that I hadn't even thought about frostbite protection for my face, aside from covering it with my buff, but I was snotting all over my buff, and then the snot would freeze, and then I would have ice up against my face. Alright, so frostbite started to become a concern. Now, I knew that Vaseline could be a good protection against frostbite, at least so I have read before or heard stories about people putting it on exposed skin to protect it. I didn't have any Vaseline though. What I had was the Musher's Secret. So again, with the Musher's Secret works for your foot care, for your chafing, and it totally worked for the frostbite protection. I got out of that race with only a tiny, tiny spot of extremely mild frostbite, which, given the conditions, is like a miracle. So Musher's Secret all the way. And that is all I could think about for that. Tip, though, wear all of your race gear on your long runs. I hope you're already doing this. But also, even on shorter runs, even if people will think you're a total nerd, I'm not too proud, especially when I get some new gear, to show up to 3 Mile Run at Run Club wearing a race vest. You shouldn't be either. First off, wearing your race gear on as many runs as possible now is going to acclimate you to wearing it, and it will be less likely to chafe you and agitate your body. But also, if you're wearing it pretty consistently, especially on those long runs, you're going to see if there's any hot spots that just aren't going to acclimate and are probably going to continue to be chafing hot spots.